Alright, this is going to be a record for the first, second, third, fourth, fifth week of March. And I'll be covering GJ, GN, GA, metal, including silver, gold, S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and also USDJPY. Starting with this week, market outlook. I haven't really finished it yet, but I'll go through it. Currently, my view on the market right now is that the market is still uncertain with the banking crises, and therefore I'm expecting metal market to either continue to trade at the same level it has been the past week or trade higher. This is also meant that JPY is gaining strength, which I'll show you in a second. Without further ado, starting with gold, we have seen a 1 second. How do I? Okay. So with gold, we have seen a strong push last week. That was during the initial week of the banking crisis, and then we had a consolidation and a retracement where we had a strong sell-off, and then we managed to kind of trade back into this level. Now, what you could expect is a potential retracement to this level again before trading higher. Personally, I want to take a short at this level. Definitely gonna take it, and in fact, there we go. Okay, and if that's the case, then that would go in line with what I have been planning out this week. If otherwise, and we see a retracement to the downside, all these are very good zones. However, the 38, I do want to see some correlation with silver over here. It could just be the tap here, somewhere here would work, but otherwise, I do want to see some sort of confluence alignment within this two pair. And also, I have charted out the 50, and this is going to be a trade in which I would take regardless. So you could also kind of follow me on this one. 50, I do think that this is a great zone to hold the trade. And the ultimate trade that I want to get long in is the 61 at 1885, around there at this bottom of the wick. For silver, we have seen a pattern creating an impulse, consolidation, impulse, consolidation, impulse. What we could see is another consolidation around this level. We trade around this 22.7 until up to 23 before we try to tap onto 23.5 again, and then onto the trend line for trade lower. However, another case could be made is that if we do see some strong movement on gold, silver could just move up like this, and we could potentially set up for a trend line short. But again, I am not going to plan it out yet, because this line is too dynamic. I will probably update midweek if there's any opportunity that I see. If otherwise, most of these setup are more or less aligned with gold, just a simple fib drawn like that and using price action as a determinant for where I want my zone to be placed at. For GJ, we can see, if we look at this, for GJ, we are seeing strength being gained on the JPY. We have seen strong push to the upside, retrace, push to the upside, retrace, push to the upside, likely to retrace back here on this level and then higher. Right now, yen is, you know, the safe haven, and therefore we can expect a downside on yen, on GJ, I mean, sorry. And more than likely, this is probably going to be contested, and we're probably going to see some sort of pullback. I don't know how much. Personally, I might as well just observe. But it is again a 61.8. This likely have to be aligned with USDJPY. If we do see USDJPY struggling at 129.8 and GJ is trading at this level, then I think that we will have a fair chance of capitalizing on the trade. Otherwise, I do have a point of interest on GJ at 129.2, and this is based off a concept I learned from fractal flow. It's the inward extreme, which is this little candle bar right here at the extreme, right here, and you could see a potential swing, a pullback, pullback to the upside, and this would allow me to position myself relatively well in case yen do fall, and I could use that to hedge my position. Certainly, I'm looking to use this position to hedge, and that would be around $300, $370 of potential hedging capability. But again, we will see what I want to do with that position when the time comes. This also, I do want to stress this one out. We might also see, if I do see a retest on this level again during the same time GJ, UJ is happening, then there's a fair chance I will use EJ as a confluence. Now onto the New Zealand dollar and the AUD pair. We have the GNGA. Right now there's not much that I'm looking at besides the long. We are of course in a upward trend, but with how price has been moving, it is very difficult in my personal belief to take any positions. I think it is too risky. Personally, for my risk appetite, you could definitely take this 61 right here if I just stretch this out. Looks something like this. This could very well work out, but again, I don't want to take any risk. My point of interest again is at 1.944, with the stop loss being relatively big at 70 pips roughly, and I'm using this position to hedge for some of the risk. So I'm basically risking 2.5%, but really I'm only risking 1.5%. So that's that. For GN, I know that pound has been rising on the rise with the better news that came out for its economy, and inflation has been, I'm sorry, I think I'm mixing that up with the European dollar. I mean European euros, but with the pound, we do see bullishness from the current rate hike. And with that in mind, I do believe that we are still on the trajectory to reach 1.995, and I think this is going to be a as high as GN would probably hit before we see some sort of major move to the downside. As for GN, I have no clue, and I have not really charted it. If we do see some sort of pullback to the downside, I'm going to definitely use it as a confluence for GN. And this goes the same way for EN, EA, which I use for a confluence for GN. For GBPUSD, this is also going to be taken into account for GBPJPY, which are more or less relatively, I wouldn't say it's the most correlated pair, but you can see some pullback definitely between these two. And for the Nikkei, there hasn't been much. We have, like on the daily, price has been more or less consolidating within this range. So either we trade below this wick at 26.44, we're still going to be in a range, and I'm probably going to more or less discard this as a confluence for my GBPJPY. Because right now, if you look at it, we are in a squeeze, and we might see a strong push to the downside or upside in, let's just say, before the end of this year. But again, we have seen that price has been closing lower, and we have seen this level at 25.796 being maintained. This could very much indicate a potential push to the upside, technically, okay? But again, we do have a lot of fundamentals looming around the corner right now, so more or less this could be a false signal, and you could be trading to the downside, interacting with the EMAs on the weekly again. So that's about it. I'll be looking for mainly this week gold, silver, potentially GJ, but mostly UJ. I want to capitalize on the runner that I have, and I also want to capitalize on the runner I have on GN. That's basically it.